start with the roasted butternut, delicata squash. Here, delicata squash. And I say roasted at home, you can roast them or you can grill them. We have a grill here today, so we'll be grilling them. But you can totally grill these. It adds a nice smoky flavor to them. So when you pick the delicata squash, you want to pick one that's kind of heavy for its size. These are all really nice and solid. And to cut them, you want to cut off the ends. And what's cool about the delicata squash is that you can eat the skin. You don't have to peel it off. You don't have to bother to peel it off. It just softens when you cook it. So I cut off the ends, and you need to get those seeds out, at least for our purposes. So you want to have a nice sharp knife. Go down the middle, and you have your seeds here.
Thanks, you too. Bye, Jerry.
Bye, Effie.
Do you have a sharp knife, Dawn,
Yeah.
that you use? Do you like using knives?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of important to have a sharp knife, especially for squash, because squash are kind of hard to cut. Do you know how to use one of these?
No.
Do you know what it's called? It's called a steel, a honing steel or a sharpening steel. And to keep my knife cutting really nicely, really sharp, I just run my knife along both sides of it from the base to the tip. And it keeps my knife nice and sharp. Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you have a knife that is like this and doesn't have like the serration, but just as a regular knife, you can do that with any knife. It'll help. So that makes my squash easy to cut. I'll get the seeds out of this other one too. And then we'll just cut it into rings. Jerry, what do you do with squash?
I think pretty much what you're doing. We usually cut it into rings,
Yeah.
and then I'll roast it in the
Right,
oven.
right. This is similar. It's just going to be kind of a higher temperature, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And at the end, what's cool about this, you can put anything on at the end, but I'll just olive oil and salt at the beginning. And then when it's just about done, I'll put some maple syrup with some spices on it. And it really caramelizes. And I say to use pumpkin pie spice, basically. And it's like pumpkin pie. And it's super simple. You can do it on the grill or, like I said, on a tray in the oven at like 425 probably, depending on your oven. And you don't want the rings too fat because you do want them to cook in a shorter amount of time, especially on the grill. You want to be sure that the rings get cooked through. So if you cut them too fat, the rings won't get cooked through. They'll just burn on the outside and they'll be kind of raw on the inside. So I don't know, that's maybe like an inch thick or something like that.
On that spectrum.
Yeah. So scoop out those seeds.
Yeah.
I need to see this grilled butternut.
Yeah.
Delicata.
No, delicata.
What do you do with
So she starts out with a sharp knife. Amazing.
Oh, it's amazing what that does, isn't it? Mrs. Clark.
So a sharp knife always makes a difference.
Huge difference.
And
Inside joke?
when you cut through your finger, it doesn't hurt as bad.
That is a clean cut.
Yes.
Right? And then I just put some olive oil on it and some salt just to start with. You want them coated, but you don't really want a pool of oil in the bottom of the bowl. So they're just slippery enough with that oil. And I use olive oil, you can use avocado oil. It's my other kind of favorite oil to use for the high heat. I think this is still on, yeah. Sounds like it. And I'll start on the hottest part of the grill here. And then once they start to brown up, I'll move them to the cooler part of the grill. And that's something you can do at home too if you're grilling. Go from the hot part to the cool part. Do you grill them during the summer or at all, Jerry?
No, I've
Not
never
so
done
much?
it this way. I've always put them in the
oven.
In the oven.
I think in the summer when it's hot, you don't want to turn on the oven. I think this might be a good. That smells so good.
Nelson, come check this out. Can you see?
He said he can hear me like 90%.
That's so cool.
Right?
Did we see the beach? Okay, Aliye, I'm gonna do the Instagram thing now.
Good.
Because that looks just beautiful. Are you ready to be in the...
Oh yeah, he's already got me going. Something. Facebook?
Was it...
Oh, we go in there? No, yeah, do it. I know, I think that's why he moved so light. The lighting was kind of bad. Turn it up. So that's that. We'll let that go. The other thing, let's start with the bok choy. Same thing with the bok choy. So here's a nice bok choy here. What I do with these, you can totally roast these, which is a little bit different than doing them stovetop, which we're all kind of like, oh, stir fry them up. But these are really fun to roast. So I already started. What did I do? Yeah, I had a bowl of it.
And like, here's the up, here's the down.
I had some choice specimens. I already started one, I think. There we go. So what I did is I just cut it in half, and we're going to put it cut side down on the grill. And at home I would do the same thing, like roast it, just put it on the tray, and you get some nice charred edges on it, and it softens up. And then at the end we'll put like just a little glaze on it, like soy and sugar and apple
So
cider
you didn't
vinegar.
even use olive oil?
I will in a second, yeah. I'm going to put all those in there. I'll do the same
is that
thing.
a good size for baby bok choy, or would you like
This
a little
isn't
smaller?
baby to me.
Okay.
I
so
was like, oh, baby bok choy, okay.
Okay, so you'd like it smaller for
Yeah.
cooking it whole. You'd like it a bit smaller.
I would. I pictured it a little bit more compact
Okay.
with less leaves. We'll just get more char, which I don't think is that big of a deal.
Okay.
It'll still be delicious. Yeah, it'll be delicious. Still.
It goes from baby bok choy to half-grown bok choy
Overnight?
in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it just grows so
I
fast.
believe it. I believe it. We will be grilling some leaves, but I think it'll be totally fine. I don't know how many will fit on there right now. Let me start with that. And same thing, just some olive oil. And we won't put any salt on these because the glaze we'll use at the end will be some soy. So there'll be plenty of salt in there. We'll just put a little bit of black pepper. Try to get them coated here. And let's see if that one's hot.
Do you only use olive oil?
I use mostly olive oil. The other thing I use is avocado oil. Like I was saying, it's a slightly higher heat, and it has. If I really want like no flavor at all, I will use the avocado oil. Those are my two. I'll use coconut oil sometimes, but depending on what I'm doing, because it can get solid at room temperature. You know, when it's colder, it's solid, and depending on, I can't use it in a salad dressing. I don't want it to be solid. So.
Come on.
Okay. Hi. Hi. How's it going? Good. How are you? Perfect. Good. So we're just grilling bok choy with some olive oil and some pepper on it, and then these are the Delicata squash. Yeah. We're seeing how many we can fit on here. I'm not sure. And then while those are going, we'll make up a little, I guess, a glaze for that bok choy. I think the thing with these will grill up fine. I don't know if I would serve a whole one, Jerry. Like with the babies, I might serve someone half a bok choy.
Okay.
But these, I might end up cutting them up at the end.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So you'd like to see them about half that size?
If you say baby, yeah, I picture something like that big. If you don't say baby, that's a small bok choy. But it's not big.
Got it.
Does that make any sense at all? Actually, we'll make both of our glazes right now. We'll do the one for the bok choy first. So I have a bunch of ingredients here. Basically some salt and some acid in the form of apple cider vinegar. You can use anything. A little bit of sweetness, we'll add some sugar to it. And yeah, that's it. Let's see. Oh, and a little bit of sesame oil too. Where was I going to do it? also serve these two things kind of together on a platter too. You bring a platter. And the thing here, when you're cutting them up to roast or to grill, you want them to all be the same size for obvious reasons. Otherwise, you'll end up with some cooked and some not cooked. So that's especially if you guys roast a lot of vegetables. And if you're roasting things that are actually different items, they'll work together. You just need to make sure they're the same size. Like last night, I did some Brussels sprouts and some I think a butternut squash I did. I just made sure they were the same size. I had the butternut squashes, I had the Brussels sprouts, and then I did the butternut squash into chunks. And they turned out perfectly, a little bit blackened, like 400 degrees for maybe 20 minutes or so. That's kind of the secret to perfectly grilled vegetables is the same size on everything. Right? If sometimes you do it and you're like, mine are never perfect, like in the restaurant or wherever, same size is one of those keys. Turn that up. Alright, back to this little glaze here. Some sugar. So we want a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of saltiness. Good cooking is balanced, right? Or good flavors are balanced. You have a little bit of everything in there. Sweetness, saltiness, bitterness. The bitterness is going to come some from the bok choy. There's a little bit of bitterness and green. So the acid here. This one we have a little kick of the sesame oil. You guys cook with that. It's the toasted is really strong, so you just want to use a little bit. And I don't cook with it because it's already toasted. I use it as like a finishing thing. You'll see it here. I didn't coat that in sesame oil because if I cooked this over a high heat, it would kind of take on an acrid taste. Like it would break down even further as an oil and get kind of bitter, more bitter because it's already a tiny bit. And then what we'll do at the end, we'll just sprinkle with some sesame seeds for flavor, French, and looks too.
I would love to. Give her your number.
So that's it there. There's no fat in this. The fat's already on the bok choy, the olive oil there. So these here, I'm going to switch some of these. We're getting there. You see how we're getting some char on the bok choy here?
I know when I usually put bok choy in like a stir fry, you cut it up and within about 2 minutes it is gone.
It's done.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shriveled up and there's nothing left of it.
Yeah, exactly. This is, I don't think I have my heat really high. Oh, we're getting there maybe. Let me turn those. I can smell them. And you don't want them to go too far so they're total mush. But the leaves are going to be a little bit more done than the stalks, obviously. The stalks are nice and thick. And then these. Try to get some of those ones in the center that aren't cooking out here on the edge. Thank you so much. And then we'll make the glaze for the squash too, the butternut squash. You could also cover this with foil. I might do that in a minute actually. That'll help it cook faster. It'll create that oven effect, like when you're roasting in an oven. If you cover a grill, it's the same thing. Like a grill is basically an oven when you put the lid on it, right? You can cook all kinds of things in a grill that you would a regular oven. If you have a propane grill and you have a thermometer on it, a lot of times you'll know it's just at 450. You could bake a cake in there if you wanted to. So you can get things to cook faster that way.
Are you going to be posting the recipes for the sauces?
Probably not. But I can show it to you here. Maybe you can take a picture of it. It's just like some soy and apple cider vinegar and a few things. But yeah, totally. This one, the one for the squash here, the Delicata, is really quite simple. It's just It's not even really a sauce. It's maple syrup and some spices. Like I can't really call it much of anything besides, I guess, a glaze, a spiced glaze. Well, I just put a little bit of maple syrup in a cup, and then some spices, whatever you have. I have cinnamon and nutmeg here. You could, like I said, you can use pumpkin pie spice. You could use curry if you wanted to, like a curry blend powder. What else? You could use like a chili powder. I do this often with actually cinnamon and chili powder are the two things I'll put on there. So you get kind of the sweet and then a little bit of the spicy too. This thing's making noise at me, so let's check it out. So I think this would be a nice like this size, be kind of a nice base on a platter. And then you can put stuff on top of this. I would actually probably put this on a platter and then put this on top. These flavors would go pretty well together here. So we'll just put a little bit of cinnamon in there. However much you want. There's no measurements for this. It's really like when you want to do something really simple but not totally boring, just add a little bit of spices to it. And we'll put some black pepper. Stir it up. And you'll want to do it at the end because as soon as you put that maple syrup on there, it's going to burn. It'll caramelize really quickly. So when those squash are done is when you want to do that. We'll test those. And you want to test if they're done with a fork, right? If you go into the oven to see if your squash is done, you're not sure, but you cut into it with a knife, it's obviously going to be done. If you can say, oh, is that done? And the sharp knife goes right there. So you want to check with the fork. I can see these are almost fork tender. These middle ones are getting there. And they change color too. They get kind of a brighter orange. Let's talk to these Bok Choy for a second. And then we'll put the glaze here. We'll just go ahead and pour it right on. At home, you could put it in a bowl and pour it on there, like a big bowl. Put it right on there. You smell I smell sweet and the salty. And that's like a little bit too. And I think what I'll do, I'll cut it up and have you guys sample some of them. Just because they're so huge. Soft, but not too soft. That's what I like about them. I like a little bit of crunch still. Here, I'll just serve it straight in. Guys. Yeah. Just fork this over there. Here's a fork.
Keep your fork in your bowl for the next
For
course.
refills.
Yeah.
it cooked, uncooked, cooked.
Can I serve up 2 more portions from here?
Yeah, yeah.
Got him.
Myself.
Keep your fork for next course.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Leah. Maritza's watching.
This is gonna go. Hi,
This is our Bok Choy. Next course.
You're right.
Peter Barbosa wants to know, is this a side dish or a whole meal?
I would say a side dish, but you could serve them on top of each other like layers. But probably a side dish or a hearty side dish. Ooh, that's a nice crunchy one right there.
Yeah, why don't you put it? Okay. Well, not any.
He's hurt this morning, and he deserves every second of it. Yeah, I was just laughing at him.
Emma, would you like some?
Oh yeah, you. And then he was kind of just laying there. It was like, oh no. Oh God.
Probably deserve more sympathy, but not from me. Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys went to Ace too? Want to try to squash it? Just basketball. I wanted to try to squash them.
Where?
I wish I had watched the demonstration.
Oh, while we're waiting.
Yeah, we'll have another one.
Okay.
We'll do it again.
Good. So I wanted to talk a little bit about storing veggies without plastic. Which is one of my favorite. I at home will wrap green leafy stuff. The squash, the Delicata squash doesn't need to be refrigerated, but I'll take green leafy things and wrap them in a towel,
Okay.
like a tea towel, one that doesn't have any fuzz on it, and I'll just wrap it, and then I'll wet it, and then I'll put it in my produce drawer. These actually are handy bags that Maureen just made me. These are actually a bag that you can just stick your stuff in there and then do this and then just wet it and you put it in your produce drawer. The thing with produce is all about moisture control. If it gets too wet, it's gonna, and it depends on what it is. If it gets too wet, it's gonna go bad. If it gets too dry, like a carrot will flop, that's because it's lost all its moisture. A green that goes slimy is because it's too wet. So this is helping you control the moisture in a better way than plastic. Plastic really tends to just no air at all and everything just turns to slime a lot of the time. And reducing plastic use too. So try it with a tea towel, or if you're handy at sewing. You can find these on Etsy and stuff, I think, too. Or Maureen will make you one. She has a new business on her. Yeah, and they last forever. If you bring stuff home fresh like this, I've noticed it lasts way longer than it ever did in a plastic bag. So these are pretty much done. They're soft, so now I'm going to put the glaze on them. I don't want to do it beforehand because it gets nice and burned pretty quick. Caramelized, but it'll burn.
Yeah, it's been a little confusing with the transition, but I have 2 different bread companies. But yeah, so it's just different days of the week. Yeah, I think it's good to have bread available.
So this is the maple syrup, cinnamon, and nutmeg.
Precaution.
You could put allspice in there. What else? Cloves. If you have your own cloves, just play with it. You could do honey if you wanted. If you didn't have real maple syrup, that would work too.
Oh, it smells like pancakes.
Right, pancakes. Oh, there's black pepper in here, I think, too. Smells really good.
Yeah, so I'm sellable here. I have each of those available.
I think we're ready to go. If people want to bring up, people have their little trays.
Wild Bread Company. We're here on Saturdays.
Yeah, sure. Caramelizes quick, doesn't it?
I know.
Once you get
It's done. All right, who's coming up?
Okay.
Ha, ha.
You want to pass me up here? They're going to be hot. Okay. Shannon, bring your plate over.
These are not for me.
Okay, they were. I'm saving the rest for just the car.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's that? I don't know. Yeah.
Or they did that.
Okay. Emma, and the next course is up. You got your plate?
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah, but you don't have to.
I think it's
Very good. My plate got tasty.
Okay, well, there's a new one.
Thank you.
I'll use my fingers.
They might be hot. They're very hot. Tell you what, we got plenty. You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. What's happening? So do you guys have something that you do with butternut, any kind of winter squash? You guys cook it? What do you do?
Very good.
What do you
Most people, I give it to them every week in their CSA box, and I go to their house, and they have their kitchen counter is full of it. Yes, that's what most people do with
I
it.
know. That's what I know.
You just cut little rings and then put it in the oven with like
That's it.
spices on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Totally. It makes a good soup, too.
Oh, really?
Like if you had leftover some of these rings and you weren't sure what to do with them, you could like simmer it in some stock and then blend it completely and you'd have a nice butternut squash soup. So that's a nice way to use leftovers. Like if you're just tired of eating the squash, you made an inordinate amount, or it's like after a holiday gathering, you just have a ton of butternut squash or any kind of squash left. You can do that with the leftovers, would be good. And the bok choy would be great as a salad the next day too, because that glaze would really act as a marinade on there. You just make it in advance, have it the next day, pair it with some chicken or something.
We're done.
Of course, you prefer I have the little glaze. Yeah, so I'll take a picture of that. I